So we're going to start in the Streamweaver GUI, and here we can see the main dashboard, the main Weaver dashboard, and in that we can see some sources on the left-hand side and a destination of CA on the right-hand side. These arrows are not moving, therefore nothing is happening at the moment. I haven't started anything. What we're going to do is add an extra integration. So first of all, let me show you what we're going to do. We're going to start off with special offers here. This is our application that we're monitoring. We have New Relic that's monitoring that application, and we have CA here, and we're going to deliver that into there. So that's the three things we're going to do. So we're going to come back to our Streamweaver UI, and we're going to click on the plus symbol. The plus symbol will kick off the wizard, and in the wizard, we can select New Relic, and then we put the access information for New Relic. So I've got that automatic filled. We hit validate and create. While it validates and creates, it goes and connects to New Relic and makes sure that it works. Provided that works, we can then enter a destination. The destination, we could put it in from scratch, but what we're going to do is we're going to select the existing one. And the next thing we can see is the data types. So there's three types of data types selected for New Relic: events, metrics, and topology. Once we've decided on the data types, we can actually filter those down. By default, it's going to pick up all applications. So if we click on the plus sign, the down arrow sign here, we could select a specific one. This is actually collected live from the application. So we do a query to New Relic, and we see what data there is. So that saves a lot of mistyping and errors. But we're going to leave that at all applications, and we're going to create collectors. Then, if there's anything to be configured on the distribution side, that's from the CA side of things, you could go in here and you could make changes. There's nothing we need to change. So we're going to hit Create Distributors here. And once we've hit Create Distributors, we can actually then save and start the system. What we see then is the one we just added started, and you can see those moving arrows. What we're going to do is start the other two as well. And if we click on here, we see them all arriving. So that's the integration done. So now we've configured Streamweaver, let's come back to CA Operations Intelligence and set up a service. So we're going to come over here to the top right-hand side, and we're going to create a service. So here we can see the three applications that we just started sending from Streamweaver, and we're going to add them to a new service. Let's give it a new name. So now we see our service. Let's go down and have a look at the topology that we've discovered. First of all, we can see the service itself. It hasn't got much data. That's what so its warning here is that it hasn't got much monitoring data at the moment. We're going to go down into topology. We're going to look at all CIs, and we can see we've got the topology discovered by Oracle, the topology discovered by New Relic, and actually also topology discovered by Eternity. So if I open that up, you can see we've got Eternity there as well. There are some red CIs, but that's not necessarily caused by our test. Obviously, that's just alerts against that CI. Okay, let's have a quick look at the dashboard and see if we can see what's happening with metrics. So here we can see a dashboard of general metrics. And on the top right-hand side, we can see the New Relic AppDex. That's how happy the customers are on our various websites. We've got some database and application response times. We've got network response times. But note that we actually mix metrics here from New Relic and from Oracle. Obviously, we could mix in some other metrics as well. Down here, we're looking at Oracle, and we're also looking at a bit of Oracle memory here as well. What we can do now is we can drill down into another dashboard that shows a bit more detail about the application. This is looking a bit more closely. Note the total number of alarms. That should go up if we have problems. There was a little peak here, but at the moment things are bubbling along. And there was a little peak here on one of our transactions, but let's see what happens. You can see we're also monitoring for maternity at the bottom to see what the end user experience is like. The idea here is we're actually going to cause there to be a problem on the database. That should slow a lot of things down. So I'm going to come over here. This is my Oracle server. And I've got a command here that will actually put some stress on that server. So I'm going to run that. Actually going to run it for 20 minutes. And we'll see some upticks on those charts, and we'll see some thresholds being breached. So this is after 10 minutes, or maybe a little bit longer, to see some things happening. We see an uptick in the alerts. We see this AppDex on the top right-hand side. You can definitely see it. It was bubbling along at 1. And we'll look at that. The happiness of the people is getting lower and lower. The predicted happiness from New Relic is getting lower. We can definitely see some of these ones that were always low peaking a little bit now. And we're getting some weird things on our response times. We haven't seen much on Oracle, but that comes up when they eventually with an alert. Let's go down now and have a little bit look at the more detailed application view. This Oracle CPU for the user has definitely shot up. If we look very carefully along the eternity, we can see that the response time is getting worse. Okay, so just as time goes on, the response times get worse. Maybe there's a little bit of a peak here at the bottom. If you see that, we went up to like the 300s for some of those. And at the top here, we can definitely see a much slower response time. There's some more alerts as well. So what we're going to do now is drill down into the OI GUI again. So in the OI GUI, we see our service. We see it's actually got a severe risk now. We're going to drill down and have a look at the topology first. See that it's got that severe risk. It's now started to get some data. Let's see what's going on inside. Yeah, we have a lot more red CIs. And we can actually now follow through the application and see the problem. See, we've got our OEM over here, and if we look at that, it's got some performance issues. Okay, then we're going to follow through to the back end. Yet again, it's got some response time issues. Now we're going to look at the application. Also, this is from New Relic, and we see that has some problems. And then we're going to look at special offers. Certainly getting some response time errors with our actual transaction, with the actual subpart of the transaction. And then finally, we can go into eternity, and we can see we've got some problems from the Easy Travel application as well. The final thing we're going to do is we're going to go across and have a look at the alerts. So we can see all the alerts that were mapped to those CIs. If we have a look at, let's say, for example, the CPU, we can go along and we can actually look at the affected metric, and we can see quite clearly that CPU nicely going up. This has been Steve Coleman from Streamweaver. If you have any questions, please email us at info@streamweaver.com. Thanks.